Alrighty, good morning. Welcome to the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show, brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding. I'm your host, Harvey Freed, alongside of me, John Kolb.
What's up, everyone? Happy Saturday. It's going to be a beautiful day out there.
Happy Saturday to you, John. Of course, you're bringing the great Noel Heidemann from Maxbrook Realty. Of course, Noel, I know your backyard's Birmingham, but you do all the Tri-County area. Noel, what, 25 years plus in real estate?
29.
29.
Welcome, everybody.
Close enough.
Good morning.
Not bad. Next year, you will celebrate your 30th with us here for sure.
Big 30, yeah. Big 30 next year.
All right, we're going to step back here. We got so much to share with you. Again, 1 hour of the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate and Business Show. Definitely take all your calls, 248-539-9797. We are in our 23rd year to bring you some really great information. John, I went out there and I gave it a little attitude on Facebook, and I put out there, hey, what's with this 2-1 buy down? It's just a seller's concession, so we're definitely going to be talking about that. A lot of real estate agents had meetings this past week. That was the talk of the town, 2-1 buy downs.
Yeah, I mean, guys, this program has been around forever. But, hey, it's the new thing to talk about. Let's go over it. It's great. And yes, the realtors need to understand how it works so that when the offers are presented, they're presented with that being part of the offer if that's what the buyer wants.
Oh, hey, let's bring in Becky Alley. Becky from your home office today, Becky. How's it going? Good morning.
Hey, good. I'm feeling a bit under the weather, so I thought it'd be best I just call in and spread my cheer from a distance.
Fantastic.
Spread your cheer, not your germs.
Yeah.
Beck, we'll have you here in the office next week for sure.
For sure.
Definitely, we're going to dive into the 2-1 buy down. Beck, you know what? I'll let you even take it because it became the talk of the town. We know it's a seller's concession, but definitely wanted to hear your take on things and all these different programs that are starting to pop up.
Yeah, okay. So the 2-1 buy down is definitely this new in vogue thing that works for people, right? Considering their situation and what they're trying to do. However, people need to understand that seller concession does not go towards the buyer if they're paying any points to get the qualifying rate down. What does that mean? So let's just say you're buying a house and you want your qualifying rate, the highest rate is going to be at 6.375. And let's just say you had to pay a full point by itself for that rate. Well, that concession that the seller is giving you doesn't go towards that, right? The first set of concession goes towards actually the 2-1 buy down, which would be your first 2 years of the lower rate. And so in turn, the buyers have a little bit more closing costs if they choose to pay points in addition to the 2-1 buy down. So there is some nuances to this program. It's not for everybody. It just depends on what your goals are and your financial status, and if you can come up with those additional funds should you need it. So it's definitely very important that people don't fall into that trap of, oh, yeah, it's great, and you get, a rate that's lower for one more year, but there are some additional fees that go along with this, and it's important that whoever they're using, they really get into the meat and potatoes of it for sure.
Yeah, definitely, Becky. And one of the things we always think about is the overall, take a look at it, it's situational. Every house, every buyer that's looking to buy a house, there's a different set of circumstances. John, somebody might come to us and they're looking to go minimum down 3 or 5% conventional, but sure enough, they have these other debts out there. They've got credit card debts of $5,000 and $8,000, and also the quality of the house. So we have to preserve their money, and sometimes just keeping their money and them getting maybe just a straight 30-year fixed, and maybe even using some old-fashioned seller's concessions would benefit them way more.
Yeah, it's an overall picture. It's not just, it's not the product du jour like you see the advertisements. Don't get me wrong. I love the advertisements out there because then we don't have to pay for it, right? It makes our phone ring and we can answer the questions the best way. But like Becky said, the product is not for everybody. And Harvey mentioning sometimes keeping money in your pocket, paying off some debts is going to be better suited for you than paying a ton of money in closing costs to buy down your interest rate. Let's look at your overall picture. Run your numbers, get rid of that $3,000 credit card that's got $100 a month in a payment instead of paying, 1 point to drop your payment down $15, something similar like that. So yeah, you got to take a look at the whole picture. Make sure you get with your team. We always say get with your team, ask the questions, and let's go.
Yeah, focus on paying off that mortgage is what we always say. Again, get a mortgage today in today's market. No, look, it's a little scary out there. No doubt some of the buyers have been scared off these interest rates, what they were looking at their house payment to be just even 6 months ago or a year ago. Now it's almost double on that principal and interest. Of course, their tax and insurance, the mortgage insurance, that's all the same. It's a little scary out there, and some buyers might be looking for a little relief.
Yeah, it's always like short term in regard to if you look back 4 years ago and what the interest rates were then versus what they are now. yeah, they're higher than what they were, say, 4 years ago, but not by a terrible, huge margin by any means. So I think it all takes, time to settle in. What I'm seeing out there, and other agents, that I've talked to and in my office, are seeing things that, that are basically move-in turnkey condition. Those are selling quickly, and those are having multiple offers. I just closed on one last week that we had a multiple offers, and it was in great shape. Other homes seem to be finding, like everything does, water finds its level, and so do prices with homes. And so many things were overpriced, I think, at all levels, all conditions of homes, that I think you're seeing things that need a little bit more updating work, are sitting on the market longer. But also, if anybody's ever tried to hire a contractor, ever really,
Yeah.
but even recently, that's a tough go.
It's challenging.
And it's expensive. With the cost of materials and everything else. So not only is it to maybe get the contractor there to get the deposit and the initial project going, possibly in 6 months, but then it's going to take however long after that. So
And to get the materials in.
to get the materials in, there's so many things. It's like the chip, shortage in the, the car industry. It's the same thing. I mean, everything phases, and fizzles down to all kinds of different industries. So, real estate right now, is interesting. And, with the interest rates the way that they are, I see a lot of buyers, kind of sitting and waiting. It seems like they're waiting for, I'm not sure what.
We say this every day.
Yeah, but, there are a lot of great deals, I think, out there. Homes that, maybe need a little bit of fixing up, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Everybody's going to put paint on a wall when you move into a house. But there's, a lot of stuff out there that if you're a buyer, it is a really good time, because I think you can buy a lot more than what you used to be able to, even 6 months ago. So
Yeah, I want to
changed.
chime in on what you're saying right now, Noel. So, like, I have a buyer right now where I've been working them for 2 years, right? They're not like the desperate buyer. They were just looking for the very specific home. And the very specific home that they want is back on the market, now at a reduced price, right? So now they're like, yes, we're going to do it. And now I hit them with the interest rate that is today, which is 3 points higher than it was at the first of the year last year, right? So, now they're like kind of hesitating. And we had this really long talk about, what are your goals? How are you going to we know this is your dream home because you've been looking at this house for a year, hoping that it came on the market. And then here it is on the market. And now you're going to hold yourself back because the payment is about $100 more than what you want, but they can afford it on paper, right? And we had to have that discussion that, like, we are in this temporary moment in time. You cannot let the rate hinder you on your decisions when you know you can afford this house, this payment. And in, let's just say, even 3 years from now, 4 years from now, we are going to see refinances, like that's going to come around. But we had to really sit down. I looked at any program that we had available that was going to give them a cheaper payment. We looked at that, and they went back, they thought about it, they looked at their finances, and they're going to now proceed. But to that point, yeah, buyers are a little bit more hesitant. But what's good about this market, because it's not just one thing, these buyers have the chance to really sit back and look at their finances. They're going into these offers with fully open eyes. They're not going into them with this buyer's remorse because they had to hurry up and submit an offer and looked at it for 5 minutes because they had to beat out the guy that was looking at it too, just because he wanted it to want it, right? So it's a different market, but it's also a good thing because people can be really educated and be comfortable with the decisions that they're making.
That's true, and I think what I've run into as well, and again, talking to not only my clients but other agents' clients, it seems like buyers are afraid to like hurt somebody's feelings too, like put in an offer that's, say, 5% lower, 10%, because it's been unheard of in the last 3 years that's happening. So it's slowly but surely starting to drip its way in, and we'll see what happens.
All right, we got so much to share with you this morning. It's the 1 hour show, the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show, brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding. We'll take your calls, 248-539-9797. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back to the show. It's a Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding. We are powered by Fairway Independent Mortgage Corporation, NMLS 2289, Equal Housing Lender. It is October 22nd, 2022. Boy, are we in for a wonderful weekend here. Get out there, put the clubs back out in the car. Definitely get out there and hit the golf course. And I don't know, I'm trying to get the boats out of the water and stuff. There's a lot of that going on. Just a wonderful fall here in Michigan. Again, be safe if you're out there and enjoy the day. We got a couple great days ahead of us. You know, let's go to a couple calls here, of course. I'm Harvey Free, John Kolb, and Becky Alley's on the line with Capital, and Noel Heidemann joins us from Maxbrook Realty. But let's go to John's question here. Hey, John, you got a question about selling your house soon. Go ahead, sir.
Yes. So my question is there value in doing a major renovation prior to selling your home? So I have a 1995 home, and it's got a 1995 kitchen in it. And the kitchen works, obviously, but it's Formica and whatever. So my quandary is, do I do a kitchen renovation, maybe $60,000, $70,000, in anticipation of then selling the home within a year or two? Is that foolish or is that wise?
Honestly, John, I would have to see your house in order to give you a really good idea about it, because
we'll do that.
I would love to set up an appointment with you, John, and to stop by your home. And the reason why I say that is because there could be other things in the house that, we don't have to necessarily worry about the kitchen. You're not going to get dollars for dollars back for that. That may be what the resolution is to this, but I don't know until I see it. Because I'm a firm believer in, I don't want you to spend a dime if you don't need to spend a dime if you're not going to make it back. That's just kind of crazy. And if you're looking 2 years from now, we don't know what the market's going to be 2 years from now. But any updates you do have in general right now, on your home is going to definitely be a benefit. People like shiny new fancy things, bright clean walls and clean kitchens, and that's what is selling quickly now.
And although he's got an outdated kitchen here, he definitely might be able to present the house, get top dollar for it, and it wouldn't benefit him anyway. Those buyers might want to do it their way.
There's a lot of things that we can do with your home. If I saw your home, that we may concentrate on a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and not necessarily that 95 kitchen. It's a matter of seeing it, knowing what buyers are looking for, and we may be able to not have you spend that $60,000 and maybe put a couple thousand in here and there just to spruce things up, and that may be enough for to be able to sell the house and make you some really nice money. John, where are you at?
I'm in Rochester Hills.
Okay, great, perfect.
That's a hot area.
Yeah,
I mean, the other thing, guys, is that is he going to enjoy the kitchen? Like you said, if he's going to sell in 2 years, will he enjoy it for the next year and a half after it's done? And there's value in that too. Getting that done and enjoying it yourself, and then selling it at that point.
John, honestly, if I had a nickel for, and I've been doing this for a long, long time.
Yeah, Noel's old.
People want to put, say, do a new kitchen, do new countertops. Man. Again, if I had a nickel for every time somebody did this, so somebody, say, for example, wants to change their countertops. Everybody wants to put in granite. They put in Ubatuba. Okay, that's that kind of green-black color, very, very popular. Say they spend $5,000 on that countertop. The buyer that comes in, that's the ideal buyer, guess what? They love your house. You know what they hate? Your countertops you just spent $5,000 on.
Right.
So that just dropped the value in the buyer's mind by $5,000 or by whatever it is, because they don't know what it costs to put it in. So you just hurt yourself. So it's not about just going and doing it and then expecting to get that money back. You got to do things the right way. And John, that's what I'm here for, to help you, is to not spend money just to spend money. Let's do it right.
Yeah, we'll get you hooked up. We'll get you guys out there, too.
Absolutely.
Doesn't cost you anything, John. We'll have Noel call you after the show and go out there. And as many professional opinions you can get would be a great way to go. And again, then you start analyzing what sold in your neighborhood, what was the quality of those homes, and what was the price range. John, thanks for the call. It's always great information.
Yeah, and it's never too early, John, to start thinking about that stuff.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks
you
for
very
calling.
much. The other thing that came to mind is, I mean, you're talking about a 2-year project. Sometimes it's hard to get the contractors out there. And before you know it, 6 months after you finally finish it, you want to get out of there.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
you got to figure things out ahead of time. All right, I like those calls. 248-539-9797. Let's dive into what's really going on in the marketplace. Again, it's a quick flip. It was really interesting. Over asking real estate agents, 2020, 2021, over asking. You guys were telling every buyer, and I'm good with it, 30 to 60 days of free occupancy. We're going to give that seller. You got to come in over asking. Multiple biz, escalation clauses. I can keep naming them. Those times have changed. We flipped the switch real quick on that, Noel.
Yeah, it really has. In the last 4 months, it's changed dramatically. You know, the one thing that had been happening, and I've seen it in multiple offers, which I would never recommend, is people waiving home inspections.
No.
That is, and getting those sewer lines cameraed, especially if you're in a neighborhood that's 50, 60, 70 years old. That's super important.
What's your opinion on the pass fail for the inspection versus, coming back for a dollar amount? A lot of realtors are out there saying, "Hey, this inspection is just for pass fail. We're not going to come back for concessions."
Well, it depends. Every transaction is different, and how you come back with any kind of issues that you have with a home inspection is very important as well. If you do a home inspection dissatisfaction, the seller honestly can just walk away and accept another offer.
Right.
Do an addendum, it's a totally different situation. So you have to know how to handle those situations, what the proper paperwork is in order to keep your buyer in contract. Because we have actually, it was talked about at our office meeting on Wednesday, an incident happened where the agent got back with the wrong paperwork, countered, and the seller ended up accepting another offer. Because basically the verbiage that was in some of these addendums gives the buyer or the seller that right to basically say, nope, we're not doing it.
Just move on to the next one.
Yeah, exactly. So you have to know what you're doing.
All right. You know what I also want to say, and win-win transactions are back in vogue. So we're going to talk about that too. We want to hear from you. 248-539-9797. Let's go out to Brian calling in on a question about adding some value to the house. Hey, Brian, what's your question?
Hey, good morning, guys. Love the show. Great show.
Thank you.
All right, question was whole house generators. With all the power outages and all that's going on with these overloaded grids, my question to you gentlemen is this. Is a whole house generator usually a good investment, even on a sale of a house? Does it bring value to a home, whole house generator? And also, what brand is better, Kohler or Generac? And I'm looking at a 14 kilowatt, I believe, or 14. My house is about 1,600 square feet, so I was told the 14 would definitely run the whole house on natural gas. But the thing is, that they're expensive, and is that something that will pay off in time?
Brian, where are you at?
In Chesterfield.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, in my experience, having a generator is a huge, huge plus. But say the generator costs 10, 15 grand, whatever it is. Are you going to see dollars to the dollars on that? No. Don't expect that. But I think it's one of those peace of mind. It's one of those additional cherries on top type of thing with the whipped cream, and you get the nuts too. Where is that going to be a resale? Is that a plus? When you go to sell,
it's a plus.
Absolutely, it's a plus. It's a huge plus, especially, man. If Brian, if you're in an area and you wouldn't be considering a whole house generator if you didn't lose power, right? If you
I'm
lose,
in an area, guys, where if the neighbor farts, the lights flicker.
yeah,
you know what I mean?
you know what, my friend, then that's probably going to be a really wise investment, not only for you but the future homeowner. When you go to sell, knowing that in your area you're losing power all the time, yeah, man, that's a great investment.
I'm going to tell you this, Brian. Because this is coming from experience. 1 year ago, I put my own generator in, and I have not lost power since. So be ready
you go.
to spend all that money and never lose power. Because the year prior to that, I think I lost power 4 days at a time, 3 different times, right? And now it's like flickered on. Like I get excited when the power goes off for 10 minutes.
Yeah, John's in Royal Oak too, so he's in an area that's obviously heavily concentrated. It's not out,
And brand-wise, guys, I mean, I know that Generac puts a ton of money into advertisement. You see their commercials running constantly, but I've been doing a little research between them and Kohler. Kohler's been around for 100 years plus, but they seem to have where do you guys stand with that? If your knowledge is knowing that Kohler can, pull the same type of whatever it is that they do, would you say Kohler or Generac? Where would you guys fall on that?
I leaned on the electrician that I was referred to and what their suggestion was, and for mine, they put in Generac, and like I said, it's been great. I mean, you just got to make sure you can put it somewhere that you can hide it, because when they run, they're noisy.
John, what was the cost on it?
Yeah.
I know you got about 1,500 square foot home somewhere in there.
Somewhere, and so
What was the cost?
all in, I think it was around 12.
Oh, okay.
12,000.
It's heavy duty. I mean,
It's
you're looking
expensive,
you're looking at some
and I
money
went
there.
I went the same route as Brian, where it's you do more kilowatts than you actually need in case you have to add something onto it, right? And that's what they
Correct.
suggested was for $500 more, just get a couple more kilowatts, so that in the event that you need to add on something, it's there and you've got room.
Yeah,
Brian, I like that conversation. Go ahead.
Yeah, and I think that it's like John said. He talked to his electrician. I talk to electricians. I talk to heating and cooling guys. Get as many opinions as you can, because you're like us. Like I don't know a lot about generators.
I do have-
but you do the research, and you do start asking around, and you'll figure out the answer.
Brian, one thing you do have to take into account is that these generators have warranties, but to keep the warranty valid, you have to have them serviced every year. So make sure when you make your decision that you're going to be able to find people that can service whatever brand you go with.
There you go. All right. It's always
Thanks,
additional
guys. I
information.
appreciate it.
All right. Hey,
Thanks,
Brian,
Brian.
good stuff, man. Always talking about those ancillary other things like, hey, a new roof. Will I get credit? Will my house sell another X amount of dollars, 15,000, because I just put a new roof on compared to my neighbors?
No.
Same thing with repairing
I
sewer
get you
lines.
15 grand, but it's going to help sell it.
There's
Yeah.
It's going to help sell it. And the same thing with the generator.
But you're not going to
It's a
get the
great
value of the roof. You had a roof before, you got a new roof. No one cares about the roof. They do care whether they have to fix it or not, but they don't care that you have those fancy shingles or a metal roof.
I think people that are homeowners, I think what you've got to understand is that any kind of improvements and things that you do to your home, I have always told people, do it for your enjoyment. If you're going to do it
Right.
so you enjoy it, because coming up with, remodeling and doing kitchens and doing this and doing that and trying to fit it to what your prospective unknown buyer is impossible.
Right.
So whatever you do with your home, do it so you're going to enjoy it for whatever time period you're going to do it, and then worry about everything else later on. Unless you're painting everything pitch black. I mean, I don't know. I mean, maybe people like those colors too in their kitchens.
Becky
whatever.
Alley, I'll let you sort of join the conversation here with home improvements, things that people do that, make their house more available, and things that you do strictly for enjoyment.
Well, yeah, I mean, like, it shows that you care about the house, right? And it shows that when the buyers are coming in, we've even had our, appraiser come in. He says, like, sometimes you don't have to go over the top with these home improvements if you're doing it specifically to sell. Just make it look nice and clean, fresh paint, and that's enough to get a good number, right? But at the same time, if you're living in this house and you got to do what's best for you. Like, I have a beautiful base, just finished it. I'm in the process of, doing my garage. I know that I'm staying here for however long, but if something happens and I have to sell for whatever the reason is, or I decide to sell, I'm not worried about what I'm doing right now with the idea that I might sell in 5, 6, 7, or 8 years. I'm working and doing things to my home to make sure that me and my family enjoy it. We make the most of it, and that's what's important.
I like that. All right, we're up against a quick break. 9:26 here on the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show. Call us at Capital Mortgage Funding all week long at 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker. Get this and tons of information on your next house. We'll help you with that mortgage and get you set up for successful home ownership. Come and join us here, 248-539-9797. We'll be right back. All righty, welcome back to the Hardcore Mortgage Show. Again, brought to you by Capital Mortgage Fund. You can reach us at Capital all week long. 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage bankers. Lots of news out there we want to share with you. First-time home buyers, yeah, they're still making up, John. 29% of the sales in 2021. We're seeing that still. Again, it was even a little higher the last couple years, 34%. It's declined a little bit. Investors and second home buyers, or the cash buyers out there, that's gone down a little bit. People don't want to dip into those stock markets and stuff where the money was jamming for them. Now those stocks are down. They don't want to liquidate that money right now. So call the professionals. Let us break down all the numbers for you again. That's the key about mortgages and real estate, is really getting the knowledgeable people behind you.
Right. Don't fall for the ads that you see on TV. And, quite honestly, they're just doing a bunch of marketing. And as soon as, here, Harv, let's tell the story of what happened yesterday. Yesterday, I went to the bank and was opening a new account, and they pulled your credit now just to, to do that. And what does Harvey get at work, inundated at work? Phone calls for me, for people saying, hey, I heard John Kolb's looking to do a mortgage, refinance, buy a home. They have no idea.
They were tracking you down like a dog at the office.
Yeah, they're buying these trigger leads that are the TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian sell. Every time a bank or mortgage company pulls your credit, they sell the lead to these big companies, and they're just calling you, offering you BS rates, BS products, because that's the only way they can get business.
It was worse than that. I actually took one of the, because you had a whole bunch of them coming in.
I took some of the calls too.
I was sort of being a little rough with one of the people because he sounded like he didn't have his coffee. He sounded like he just woke up, and boy, oh boy, he knew nothing about mortgages, the one guy.
Right. There
were 4 or 5 calls coming in again. And you're talking about these strangers are completely calling you because you're clicking buttons out there. In your case, you just happen up and open up a new account.
Right. It had nothing to do with mortgages. And you know what, guys? We do not participate in that kind of practice. And I am so proud that we do not, because I think it should be illegal. I know it's not, but I think it should. I think it's an invasion of privacy, because as soon as your credit is pulled, why does everybody get to know that your credit was pulled by a bank or a mortgage company? That's just, it shouldn't be allowed. But that's how these big companies earn their keep, and that's why they don't know anything.
All right. Hey, Beck.
Okay, so
go ahead,
I
Beck.
call them bottom feeder. I call those the bottom feeders, right? So a client of mine. So we do things when, we try to, let our clients know ahead of time. If we're pulling credit, there might be some things that, you might be getting some unsolicited calls. We, as a company, try to do everything we can to prevent it, but we can't, right? So, this client of mine, we pulled her credit, and sure, it's just like they're describing. She got all these calls of all these people. Oh, we're going to beat the rate, and we're going to do this, we're going to do that. Well, they had no idea what she was doing. They assumed that this person was looking to do a purchase, but really they were looking to do a refinance. So
exactly.
People call and they have no idea what you're doing. They just start going into a conversation, and the purpose of that is so they can try to trick somebody, right? They start going into it assuming they know what you're doing. And so if you get a call that's not from your mortgage lender, just tell them to kick rocks, because I do agree with John. I think it's an invasion of privacy. It should not be out there where if you're doing anything personally that it should warrant unsolicited phone calls. And, as a company, I know we try to take steps to kind of prevent and protect that information, because all they know is that there's a mortgage inquiry. That is it. There's no other information. And it's something that comes from the credit bureaus, not us.
Have people you can trust. Definitely call us here, 248-539-9797, the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show. Inventory nationally now is at 3.2 months. For a while there, in the frenzy, the last 2 years, inventories in most regions were 30 days worth of inventory.
Yeah, weeks.
Weeks, right? A house went on the market, it was gone. We are in for a win-win buyer-seller market where it's going to be an even marketplace now, where you're able to make the right negotiations and find the right house for your family. This is a different market than 2008, 2010, because there was so much inventory then. People were walking away from their homes. That's not today's market, no.
Becky, you just made a good point, and I want to parlay on that, and thank you, Becky, for making it. You guys, I think, the general public out there, be smart. Work with people that are out for your best interest. I mean, think about it. If someone is blindly calling you about a mortgage or about whatever, they're calling you from some call center in Tulsa, Oklahoma, or wherever. They're not local. They're not me. They're not, Capital Mortgage Funding. You're talking to a real person that actually isn't looking for a paycheck. They're looking to take care of you. They take care of you. I take care of you. John takes care of you. Harvey takes care of you. That leads to business down the road because we take care of people. We don't look at people like numbers. We look at people like putting you in the best situation. With the call earlier in regard to the generator or the Generac versus Kohler generators. The call about the kitchen and doing improvements. You work with the right people that have the right, your right options and opinions and
Best interest.
best interests in mind. You're going to make the right decision by working again with the right people.
All right, there's no way to sugarcoat this bond market.
I
That's
think
for
I
sure.
just teared up a little bit. Thanks, Noel.
Yeah. I'll go into the other stuff,
true,
guys.
though.
Like I said, there's no way to sugarcoat things right now. Nearly unprecedented pace here as the interest rates continue to burp up a little bit. As Harry used to say, what do you think? They're going to go down to zero? Well, that's obviously not the case. We do feel in the industry, we're really strong about this, that things will change because we've gone through these ups and downs. If they don't, then we're all in trouble, I guess. But look, John, so far the unemployment remains really low. The Fed has remained sort of unfriendly towards interest rates because they're trying to slow this market down. I know you're not a fan of it. But anyways, people are out there buying houses and doing the right things for their family.
Yeah, like Becky said earlier, don't miss out on the opportunity because of the interest rate. You're not married to that rate. You're just dating it. If the rates drop down in the next year, 2, 3, then we can refinance you and get you that lower rate. If you let the house go in 2 or 3 years, that house probably will not be around again. So like Becky said, that for her clients, go get that house, make it happen. It's your dream home, and let us worry about getting you the best rate we can and letting you know when you can take advantage of refinancing and getting a lower rate. So, there you go, Beck. They're gonna call now and do it.
All right, 2-4.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Beck.
They need to write that offer for sure.
248-539-9797 if you want to sneak in there. Yeah, there's no doubt. Numbers are coming in from August. It's shown this year. Of course, the last 6 months have been really a different market than the last several years. The pandemic years are sort of behind us, although those numbers are ticking up too.
Oh,
and again, we
gosh.
don't know what could happen in the future, but we're guessing that eventually the economy will change. There'll be an election. So it takes us back to where we were looking at these old programs that are really hitting the thing. New marketing on old programs, the 2-1 buy down, the 1-0 buy down. You need to make the extra calls now. You're going to get the wool pulled over your eyes. You're going to be dealing with strangers. You need the experts more than ever before, I feel like. And I felt that way really during the pandemic too, because the more knowledge we give you, then you were able to, if you had the knowledge, you'd walk in a house and look for things. You were okay with waiving that or maybe doing the pass-fail inspection. Noel.
Something that I think is important to really talk about, I'd like to spend some time doing that for the rest of the show, is, helping people understand. So if I've gotten one question, it's been, oh my God, is this housing recession? Are our values going to crash? And what people have to understand, and I've told this story numerous times because I was obviously in the business back then. In the early 2000s, you guys remember this?
Oh, yeah.
Where there was a lot of bad mortgage companies out there. And your cat could have got a mortgage for $200,000 back in 2000. So what people don't understand is there was a lot of people that got into mortgages back in the early 2000s. With mortgage companies that weren't looking out for the best interests. They were 3-year, 5-year, 7-year arms, balloons, you name it. You guys, those interest rates change. So what people were doing is they were qualifying at the highest, whatever percentage of what they made back in, say, 2000, 2003, whatever. Get in a 3-year, 5-year, 7-year balloon arm. Well, guess what happens? Those interest rates change. So those people that qualified at their highest level, that interest rate changed, all of a sudden they couldn't afford their home anymore. That happened at a ridiculous amount, percentage across the country. And that's what basically led to, or part of what led to, the financial collapse in 2006, 7, 8. We don't have that climate now. Not even close. I don't even know what the percentage is, but what the percentage of people that are in loans they're upside down or can't afford is a very, very small percentage now compared to what it was before. There's a lot more equity, a lot more cash, and based on what has happened in the last 3 years too, where people had to put down appraisals, put down additional amount of cash. So a lot of people have a lot of cash in their home versus what the percentage of the mortgage is. So that has benefited the stability of the market long term.
Not walking away from that one, John. If you just overpaid maybe $20,000, you're definitely not walking away from that house.
Nope.
Oh, when COVID hit the real estate market, I mean, it took off everywhere. It took off not only in the United States, but in the UK, Australia, Canada, Sweden. I mean, all across the globe, real estate, it took off. Now they're starting to see some effects. Again, they got smacked over there The prime minister stepped down, and the
Europe.
UK, of course, in Europe, and what's going on over there in the UK. And sure enough, there is some wiggle room. Maybe in some parts of the country, there will be a little bit of depreciation. Again, if you're not moving, it doesn't matter if you just bought the house.
Of course, there's going to be some depreciation at some point. I mean, that's part of the game. It goes up, it goes down, it stays the same. That's just part. Now, we're not going to have the crash. I mean, the GSEs didn't just bump the loan limit for next year by what is it, $75,000? No, more than that, $85,000. It went from $647,200 up to $715,000. They didn't do that because they think values are going down.
Right.
They want more loans under their umbrella, and they increase the limit because of that. And their economists are smarter than our economists.
There's so many scare taxes out there now.
Yeah, they're really like. I want to chime in just real quick and kind of chime in what Noel was saying is, if someone is leaning with one of these like niche products, right, like an ARM or the 2-1 buy down, if that's the first thing out of their mouth when they're having a conversation with you, you need to reevaluate that conversation and maybe seek counsel somewhere else, because those programs are not for everybody and they require additional conversations. If they're just using those as these, my rate's going to be 4.375, well, they're leaving out the other elements just to get you to let them pull their credit. That is not someone that has your best interest at heart. And you need to make sure that when you're getting these predatory calls, in my opinion, just because you're looking around and maybe, because people are programmed, I got to make at least 3 calls, right? Well, that's not always a good thing, because sometimes someone is going to tell you what you want to hear, and then you end up in a really bad position. And then as far as like the housing market, we're looking at, even if you have 5% appreciation, okay, did that depreciate from the last 2 years? Okay, but it's still appreciating. So understand that.
All righty, we're up against a quick break here. Keep it on 97.1 The Ticket. Of course, it's the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show, 248-539-9797. Sports after this show. Keep it here. All right, welcome back to the show. We're going to have a ton of sports after the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate and Business Show. That's right, we're in our 23rd year, giving you some solid information about home ownership and mortgages. Well, you got to keep the money in your back pocket. It's situational is what we always say. Give us a call, 248-539-9797. What do we mean by that is because, I got clients that are going to put 20, 30% down on a house. They can't wait. They're going to take that big chunk of money and put it down from the sale of their house onto the new one. But wait. The one house they found needed a new kitchen and a new bathroom and everything else. So the plan changed quickly.
Right.
And all of a sudden we do the math and calculations and they're like, you know what, Harvey? I'll go 5% down, keep this money in my pocket, put that value back in. And again, if these rates do come down, I can always refinance and put more money down in the future.
Right.
Can always do that.
Yep.
All right. 248-539-9797. We're going to go off to a call, and we'll go to Scott out there. Hey, good morning, Scott. You got a question about mortgages? Go ahead.
Yeah, so I have a little house in Dearborn, my second house, and I want to get rid of it, but like with how things are appraisals coming in bad? Like I know there's still buyers out there, but are appraisals coming in bad?
No.
Like, what do I do? How do I make sure my house appraises?
Well, I mean, here, the number one thing, no, appraisals aren't coming in bad. The values are there. We just got off a hot market the last 6 months where values have been at list price, if not over, maybe slightly under. But so there's tons of comps out there to make it work. The number one thing is to get with a realtor. I mean, why
Scott,
pay?
I can stop by and take a look at the house. And give you an idea of.
Don't pay for an appraisal.
No.
Let Noel spend all the money on the gas to get down to Dearborn.
There you go.
Take a look at the house for you, get you an idea of what it's going to be worth, and then then tackle it from there. That's what they do. That's their one job. Get the house listed at the right value.
Yeah,
we can hook you up, Scott.
Pull all those comparable sales. Go ahead,
Can I
Scott.
ask a follow-up question real quick?
Of course.
Do you guys meet appraisers too? Like, do you handle that part too?
So you mean as part of the process?
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you, let's say someone comes in to buy your home, they're going to put an offer in, it gets accepted. They apply with us, and at that point they will do an inspection first, and then after the inspection results come back, if you're going to proceed with the loan, then we'll order the appraisal through our own processes. We can't have you order your own appraisal. We can't have the seller order their own appraisal. We have to use an appraiser that is independent and through our third-party services so that they come in and give a valid opinion of what the home's going to be worth.
Scott, are you just you just want to get an idea of what the value is? Not necessarily the appraisal is probably something that comes up in your head that determines value. And
But
Well, I just figure that's who decides, right?
No,
That's
it's
who
not.
decides,
The
right?
buyer is going to decide, and you're going to decide what the sales price of the home is going to be.
Market analysis is free. It really starts with the market analysis, Scott. So again, these real estate agents, they go to their computer, they pull up all the homes that sold similar to yours within a square mile within your neighborhood.
Same
and
school
boom,
district. Yep.
That's what your house is worth. With the other 5 most recent sales, and usually the last 6 months, they can go to 12.
Yep.
But those are the ones that are going to dictate what your house is worth. And even on refinances, John, the homeowner meets the appraiser at the house, and you can look, you can't influence anybody. It is what it is. The facts are there, but you can share with them some additional information.
Right, and Dearborn's very unique, right? There's different pockets of Dearborn. There's the smaller homes that are kind of like Royal Oak, Berkeley, where they're more tighter together. Then there's the homes that have more spread out. So you got to make sure that you're getting with a realtor that understands your area and that can compare it to, like Harvey said, in a square mile, half mile, same school district. Same number of bedrooms, bathrooms, same layout, that kind of stuff. And
Scott, if we can get together, I can at least, see the house and be able to, give you a good idea about what a number would be. But I might be able to, too, say, hey, do this, do that. This will give you more value. This will, add a little shine to the house and might get rid of it for you even quicker.
Is it a rental, Scott? You said a second home.
No, you know what? I just moved to Grosse Ile, so
You're dumping it.
Yeah, I wanted to have 2 for security. I wanted to feel safe. I get nervous about things sometimes.
Sure,
gotcha.
No, we understand.
Good stuff, man. Thanks for the call, Scott. Really appreciate it.
Yeah,
We'll
we'll
give you a
reach
call
out, Scott. I'll reach out to you.
Yeah, Noel will get you out there. And
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Scott.
That's really the most fun about the business is right there.
Absolutely.
That really is. It's that call, and then you meet someone. Hey, let's go meet. I'll meet you at the house.
You guys, it's
so
all
much
about
fun.
you guys are. That's why we get along so well in your company and in myself and the business that we do is we love helping people. It's
Right.
You guys. It's as simple as that. We love doing what we do for a living, and to go out and help people is exciting. It's fun.
Yep.
There's a difference between like selling someone and literally advocating and helping them. And, to that point, I am very proud to be in line with all the agents that we bring on the radio, especially yourself and our company, because we're not here to sell anybody. We're literally here to advise, give them our best options, their best options, but ultimately they are in the driver's seat. But, it takes that pressure out of it. This isn't, it's not the boiler room anymore. It's literally what fits for you. Let's work it out. And does it make sense? And if it's not now, it's when.
The market we're in simply is a reboot of the economy. It's going to adjust one day. We'll be in a new market, hopefully in the next 2 years, lower rates, a new flow of purchase and refinance business. It's all about positivity and approach with your referral partners, with your buyers and your sellers, and making that they put this plan together. Again, if someone calls me, Noel, and says, hey, look, Harvey, I need a house. I'm only going to be here for a couple years. I'm going to sway away right now from that because we know that values are up a little bit. And you do need to have more of a long-term plan. Not always, but generally speaking, you want to stay in that house for 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, I think so. You know what? I think the most important thing in any transaction in the world, period, but real estate specifically, is you have to have a good relationship with the people that you're working with. I can't stress that enough. With the realtor, with your finance people, getting a mortgage, etc. You have to have good people behind you to be able to trust you. You're dealing with your biggest asset, money. So I think it's vitally important that whoever it is that you work with, hopefully it's Capital Mortgage Funding and me, Noel Heidemann at Max Brook Realtors, that you do work with somebody that that is looking after your best interest. And it is pretty. If somebody is trying to consistently sell you something and you're uncomfortable, whether it's a buy or sell situation, that bell going off in your head should tell you something.
Yeah, I mean, Becky, Harvey can tell you that most of our phone calls nowadays are advising phone calls. We're not getting paid for it. We're not asking for application fees just to talk to you like a lot of companies out there. We're just giving you advice based upon what's going on because, everybody loves the mortgage lenders when rates are at 2 and 3.
Yeah.
But when they're approaching 7.5 and 8, nobody wants to talk to you. But that's okay. I mean, that's part of what we go through. We know the market's going to turn back around. I'm hoping it's going to even turn back around as early as 2023. And we'll be there. And we'll continue to give the best advice, put you in the best programs that we can, and make sure that you're successful. That's the number one thing.
Nothing wrong with hearing it's a little bit more of a buyer's market now. Now, that's music to a lot of people's ears out there, definitely. If your lender's bringing you donuts, I don't know. Call me up. I'll buy you a steak and lobster, whatever you want. But it's really funny. Back in the day, we used to laugh and chuckle at that kind of stuff. You got strangers showing up to your open houses now with donuts and stuff. They're talking to people there. Do they have the experience? I'm just asking you, real estate agents, who are the lenders that are calling you? Where is their expertise? Does it matter if they have experience or not? You might want to start asking those questions while you're biting into that delicious cider mill donut.
Well,
again, if you want real buyers and sellers, call us here on the radio show because we are setting up, and we have been setting up these great relationships. Come and brand yourself. Call Capital Mortgage Funding. Get in touch with Becky, John, myself. I'm Harvey, by the way. And we'll get you set up. You can brand your business. Come on our radio show. That's my little invitation to get some more people out here.
Right. And I got to come back, talking about people that are, going out, bringing donuts to open houses. Good for them. You got to start somewhere. We all started in the industry at some point. Some of us have had longer longevity than others, but we all started at some point. The good thing about working with somebody or a company like ours is that in the event that I've got a newbie 1 year in the business sitting next to me, if he needs help and advice, he's going to come to me, and we're going to help him out. We're going to treat that loan and his client like they're ours, and we're going to help him get it done. And so all of a sudden that 1 year newbie has 25, 26 years of experience helping him. And that's the way it's going to get done. So everybody starts somewhere. Yes, if you're new in the industry, okay, you're a little green behind the ears, but who's backing you? Who's helping you?
Yeah.
So we've all do it, and keep going, people.
I'll keep it positive. Becky, we're coming up to the end of the show. What do you got?
I think it's going to be a beautiful day. I feel like people are still excited to buy houses. They are getting those rent letters. That's no secret. I took 3 more calls this week where January 1st, the rent's going up. And people need to understand it's not about the rates because you're paying 100% interest on someone else's loan. Mm-hmm. So it's very, very big that you take the time to analyze your financial situation and see if home ownership is for you, because it doesn't make sense because rent is going to continue to go cheaper. Rent is backlog, right? So you're going to start seeing it over the next, even if they're getting that first of the year letters, they're going to get them in 6 months again too, because these landlords are understanding that they are not paying market rent right now. They're tenants, and it's going to continue to go up. So to the first-time home buyers that have been on the fence, you need to really kind of analyze yourself, take the plunge, and reach out to us so we can see if you can make it happen now, because there's a million down payment programs are going to help you with those funds as long as you can afford that payment.
And I think the one thing, too, to just to parlay on that, the one thing to remember is that, yes, interest rates are a little bit higher than they were before. Guess what? As a homeowner and having a mortgage, you're paying yourself. Becky, you said it perfectly.
Yep.
You're paying a landlord 100% interest. You get nothing out of that money at the end of the day. You get nothing. But if you own a home, regardless of what the interest rate is,
Building equity.
You're building your own equity. You're paying yourself, and that can't be stated enough.
All righty. Hey, guys, we're up against sort of the end of the show. I got a couple other things to touch on here. Of course, refinancing a mortgage. Well, of course, refinancing is down tremendously because it's not a rate and term environment. But why would you refinance your house? Because you truly need to consolidate all that debt you have. You just got to take a look at it. Again, in the future, you'll be able to maybe trickle down the interest rate on the mortgage. But our interest rates now are well beneath any credit card you'd ever have.
Oh, yeah.
Well
Oh, yeah.
beneath any department store. And now is a great time to still look at consolidation of debt, John. Also, land contract payoffs. These folks, if you got a land contract, you got to get in touch with a great lender now. We need to review your situation. Again, some families got a land contract, John, because they didn't qualify for before for the loan. We've got to set them up to get them to qualify. Don't lose all that equity you've been paying on a land contract.
No, I just did a refinance for somebody who had been put into a bad situation because of family.
Yep.
Tried to help some family out, and they turned around and didn't help them back. And we paid off a bunch of credit cards, saved them $1,700 a month,
That's huge.
$1,700 per month. And this is a family on fixed income, and it really put them in the positive.
All right. Hey, that music says that's it for the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate and Business Show for today's show anyways. We're going to be here next Saturday. Next Saturday, we're going to do more of a Halloween theme show. I don't know. We've seen our staff get dressed up for it.
Michigan
Becky will
State.
put it all on. Hey, Becky, thanks for joining us. That's Becky Alley, top 1%
sure.
of originators. She was on the phone with us. Of course, John Kolb, top 1% of all originators in the United States. Me, I'm probably in the top 5%. I don't know. But Noel Heidemann, he's a great real estate agent. Call us at Capital Mortgage Funding, 1-800-LOW-RATE. We'll get you hooked up with Noel and all the great real estate agents that we have the relationships with. That's how you're going to be successful. All right, keep it here on 97.1 The Ticket. We got Pat Caputo coming up with sports.